Please name your restricted area. Zhou Ming thought for a while and said, Longevity Mountain. Of course, the name was chosen because he wanted to live forever. The restricted area has been named and is being initialized, after a while. System interface refresh, name, Zhou Ming repair, none method of creation, the origin of Reiki Forbidden Zone level 1, 0/100, the highest treasure in the restricted area, the Tree of Creation permanent item, First Order Headless Horseman ×1 one-time item card, First Order Deformation card ×1, First Order Madness card ×1, First Order Curse card ×1 special item card, Star card Bone Spirit area, Unlocked Sword Tomb, Restricted Zone level 4 unlocked points, 0. Zhou Ming quickly understood this system. Because the novice instructions of the system are very detailed. This is an immortal world, and he has just crossed over here. He wants to create a restricted area here. The place where he is now is a high mountain, surrounded by clouds and mists, rich in spiritual energy, and everywhere are heaven and earth treasures. Anyone who sees the treasures here can't be moved. But Zhou Ming needs to protect the treasures here as much as possible, and use the system's ability to expel outsiders. At the same time make outsiders feel frightened, in awe, and even terrified. In this way, he can get points reward. With points, you can increase the level of the restricted area, unlock higher level items, and use points to improve your own cultivation. One intruder detected. Suddenly, the system issued a prompt. Zhou Ming immediately checked the intruder's information. Yuan Quan, there are 5 levels of Qi refining. The information is very simple, only the name and cultivation realm. Damn it, it's posted. It's a big deal. Yuan Quan looked at the treasures of heaven and earth all over the mountains and plains, his eyes shining with golden light. I didn't expect that there is such a treasure mountain hidden here. Why didn't I find it before? Could it be that there was an array protecting it before, but now the array has been withdrawn? It doesn't matter, let's take it all away. Yuan Quan, are about to rise. However, at this time, Yuan Quan felt a throbbing in his heart. He looked up and saw a tree on the top of the mountain. This tree seems to be ordinary, but it seems that there are endless avenues flowing, full of mysterious power, which makes people feel ethereal in their hearts. He got it. The deficiencies of the past practice, any unclear points in the exercises, spells, etc., are fully understood at this moment. But a sudden chill woke Yuan Quan. Yuan Quan came back to his senses and found that the sacred tree on the top of the mountain had disappeared. A headless horseman appeared not far to his left. He was wearing tattered armor and his body was rotten. He held a jet black spear in his hand and rode an equally rotten black horse under his crotch. Feel the amazing evil spirit emanating from the headless knight. Yuan Quan felt cold all over his body, his hair stood on end, and he felt suffocated. Suddenly, the headless horseman was bubbling with suffocation and rushed towards Yuan Quan. Escape! Yuan Quan almost didn't even think about it, he turned around and ran away. He tried his best to suckle milk. He escaped from this treasure mountain at the fastest speed in his life. After he escaped from this treasure mountain, the evil spirit behind him disappeared in an instant, which made him heave a sigh of relief. Hey! Was there such a stone tablet here just now? Yuan Quan suddenly found a stone tablet outside the mountain. The stone tablet is 3 feet high, simple and elegant, with 3 big characters written, Chongsheng Mountain. Chongsheng Mountain? This mountain is called Chongsheng Mountain? Not only are there many treasures of heaven and earth, but there is also a headless horseman with astonishing suffocation. But I feel that this headless knight is not as good as a cultivator in the foundation building period. I will go back and tell the head of the family, and let the head of the family take care of the headless knight, then all the treasures of this mountain will belong to us. Especially the sacred tree on the top of the mountain, it must be some kind of terrifying treasure. If you can get it, then it will really be released. Yuan Quan made a good plan and left quickly. Yuan Quan is terrified, points plus 30. Yuan Quan is in shock, points plus 23. Yuan Quan is in awe of Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 11. Zhou Ming secretly observed all of Yuan Quan's performance. Yuan Quan slowly calmed down from the initial shock. In the end, although he maintained a certain reverence, he was not so afraid. The temptation is enough, and the mystery is also reflected, but the deterrent is not enough. After all, there is only a first-order headless knight, and the realm is similar to the peak of the qi refining period. Zhou Ming summed it up. He deliberately showed the power of the creation divine tree in front of Yuan Quan. I just wanted to show the mystery of Chongsheng Mountain. If there are only natural treasures in the mountains and plains, it is just an ordinary treasure mountain. But if there are unknown treasures here that can make people realize, it can greatly enhance the mystery here, and people can't help but wonder if there is something forbidden here. Originally, Zhou Ming intended to make Yuan Quan feel the greatest awe, so as to earn more points. As a result, the strength displayed by the headless knight was weaker, and the deterrent was not enough, so naturally there was no way to completely frighten Yuan Quan. Upgrading the level of the Headless Horseman requires raising the level of the restricted area to level 2. Zhou Ming tried to use points to improve the level of the Headless Horseman, but was prompted to upgrade the restricted area first. However, it takes 100 points to upgrade the restricted area to level 2. He currently only has 64 points, which he just earned from Yuan Quan. But about half a day later, he received new points. Yuan Fa is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, his points are plus 73. Yuan Ruding is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 24. Yuan Gai is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 21. This time, Zhou Ming received 249 points. He can also simply check the information of these people, reading www. Among them, Yuan Fa was a 5th-floor cultivator in the Foundation establishment period. It seems, the higher the realm, the more points will be provided under the same circumstances. At this moment, Yuan family mansion. Yuan Quan was describing his experience in Chongsheng Mountain to the senior family members. You said that you saw the treasures of heaven and earth all over the mountains and plains there. Yuan Fa asked. Yes. Yuan Quan nodded and said, purple lingzi, windless leaves, 5-colored mysterious grass, Ning Yuan fruit, etc. are all rare spirits. I have also seen many ore fine gold, and even any stone is its Lingyu. When the senior members of the Yuan family heard the words, their eyes lit up. If their Yuan family can obtain such a batch of natural and earthly treasures, what kind of genius cannot be cultivated? It's more than that. Yuan Quan continued. Not more than that. Yuan Quan suddenly turned his cultivation base, using his palm as a knife, he slashed into the air. Suddenly, a fiery blade of mana burst out of the sky, with extraordinary power. This scene made the expressions of the senior members of the Yuan family change. This is our Yuan family's slaying spell Flaming Slash, Yuan Quan, you actually mastered the blazing slash? And it seems to be close to completion. A high-ranking family member at the 9th floor of the Qi refining stage exclaimed in shock. Elders! There is also an unknown divine tree on the Chongsheng Mountain. I just glanced at it and realized it on the spot, and then I naturally mastered the blazing slash. It's a pity that the divine tree suddenly disappeared after a glance. It's very strange. Then the headless horseman appeared and forced me away. Yuan Quan said solemnly. Hear what he said. The senior members of the Yuan family couldn't sit still anymore. You can understand at a glance, such a divine tree is only afraid of being transcendent and holy, it is not something that our Yuan family can steal. Yuan Fa frowned and pondered slightly. Patriarch, do you mean we give up? No. Yuan Fa's eyes suddenly flickered, and he said firmly, how can you easily miss such a treasure mountain? I mean, collect as much as possible the treasures of heaven and earth. Such a divine tree is so extraordinary, I am afraid that it is not necessarily a treasure that we can easily obtain. However, Yuan Quan said that there is a headless knight guarding there, and it will not be easy to capture the treasures of heaven and earth, said a senior family member. The elders don't have to worry too much. I think the power of the headless knight is far less powerful than that of the patriarch, and it is not even in the foundation stage. As long as the patriarch makes a move, it will be enough to deal with it. Yuan Quan said. When everyone heard this, they were very moved. Such a treasure mountain, no matter how dangerous it is, can't help but be tempted. Besides, it doesn't seem to be particularly dangerous there. Didn't Yuan Quan come back alive? If they don't go to see it last time, no one will be reconciled. Okay. Just us, let's go now. Yuan Fa made a decision and said, however, we still have to be careful. Maybe there are more dangerous existences there. If it can't be done, then exit immediately. Chongsheng Mountain. Zhou Ming earned a total of 313 points. He didn't hesitate to spend 100 points to raise the penalty area to level 2. Then he spent another 100 points to raise the Headless Horseman to Tier 2. The second-order Headless Knight, in terms of strength, is comparable to the peak cultivator of the Foundation establishment period. As such, for the time being, he is not too afraid that there will be monks in the Foundation establishment period to sweep his longevity mountain. Unless there are very strong foundation building cultivators, or many foundation building cultivators come over. There are 113 points left. He used it all to improve his cultivation. In the Qi refining period, 20 points can improve a small realm. After some operations, there are 13 points left. Name, Zhou Ming Cultivation Base, 5 layers of Qi refining period method of creation, the origin of Reiki Forbidden Zone level, level 2, 0/2000, the highest treasure in the restricted area, the Tree of Creation permanent item, second order Headless Horseman ×1 one-time item card, first order Deformation card ×1, first order Madness card ×1, first order Curse card ×1 special item card, star card Bone Spirit area. Unlocked Sword Tomb, restricted zone level 4 unlocked points, 1-3. The restricted area has been upgraded, and the treasures of heaven and earth on the mountain have also been updated, which are more rare and precious than before. At present, there are only 13 points left, and the next level of the restricted area requires 2,000 points. 2,000 points seems like a lot. However, Zhou Ming felt that it should not be difficult. Yuan Quan alone brought him more than 300 points in total. As long as there are a few more people, maybe 2,000 will be enough. But I just hope that the people who come are not too strong. If it's too strong, in case he can't handle it, then this so-called restricted area will be swept away. If you don't have anything, and you can let people enter and exit 7 times, what kind of restricted area is it? As long as the restricted area loses more than 30% of the treasures, then he, the master of the restricted area, will be fired, and then he will go back to the underworld for reincarnation, and he will have nothing to do here. Only Zhou Ming couldn't control who came from the restricted area, he could only rely on luck. And right now, the system sent the intruder prompt again, 2 intruders detected. Ningying, the 8th floor of the Qi refining period. Mo Wenkan, the 9th floor of the Qi refining period. It's just right, this time I'll take action myself, and by the way, try the power of the origin of the spiritual energy of the creation method. Zhou Ming read the information of the 2. I'm ready to go out and play by myself. Miss, we hit the jackpot. I didn't expect to encounter a treasure mountain. Mo Wenkan stared at the treasures of heaven and earth all over the mountains and plains, and said in surprise. Sure enough, Miss Ben is the one who is destined to be favored by heaven. Daddy still doesn't know if I come out to play. Look, once I come out, I will have such a chance. Ningying was also very happy. Suddenly, the two felt at the same time, looked up at the top of the mountain, and found a strange tree. The trees are full of crystals, and each leaf is different, like a small world, representing a unique way, swaying with a dreamy brilliance. Emma Wenken and Ningying fell into an epiphany at the same time. But only for a moment. They were interrupted by a sense of emptiness. They were enjoying that wonderful epiphany, and it was hard to be interrupted like that. But they found that the trees on the top of the mountain were gone, and they couldn't achieve an epiphany. Who? At this time, Emma Wenken found a white figure behind them. It was a young man with a very strange mask on his face, and his whole body was cold, like a dead person. Aura. Aura is gone. Ningying suddenly looked surprised. Because she felt that the aura of the world around her disappeared in an instant. Without spiritual energy, it still gives people a strange feeling of emptiness and coldness. Coupled with the man in white in front of him, it was even more terrifying. Zhou Ming is the man in white. The mask he wears is a clown mask, which he has prepared for a long time. In this restricted area, he has absolute control, and he can go wherever he wants. But in fact, that's all, this restricted area doesn't have any built-in attack capabilities. As for the disappearance of spiritual energy, it is the creation method, the ability of the source of spiritual energy. This is an ability to control the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Actually, it's not very useful, you can't attack, you can't do anything, it's scary. At most, people cannot use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to restore mana. With his current realm, he can control the spiritual energy of heaven and earth within a radius of 10 feet at most. Who are you? Emma Wenken and Ningying stared at Zhou Ming vigilantly. They had never seen such a strange person. Suddenly, at this time, Zhou Ming stretched out his hand and pointed at Ningying. Ningying was feeling strange, and suddenly felt something strange all over her body. She looked down and was shocked. Suddenly, her body was covered with thin red hair. The arms, palms, face, and neck all grew red hair. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Ningying screamed and grabbed her hands, almost collapsing. Zhou Ming used a deformed card. This is the first order deformation card, which is only valid for cultivators in the Qi refining stage. Metamorphosis card, he can change anyone's appearance to a certain extent, even a different race. And if you want to be scary, he thinks that the red hair all over the body has the best visual impact. What did you do? When Emma Wenken saw Ningying's tragic situation, he was also extremely horrified. With just one finger, it made people grow countless red hairs in an instant. What exactly is this method? Emma Wenken had no choice but to try. Kill you. He pulled out his long sword, his whole body surging with mana, and he directly slashed out a fierce and extraordinary sword light. However, the tree of creation in Zhou Ming's body trembled slightly. Emma Wenken's swordsmanship was easily analyzed, and Zhou Ming also instantly understood the swordsmanship, and by the way, he perfected the shortcomings of this swordsmanship. Then, Zhou Ming also pointed at the sword, and also slashed out a sword light. This sword light and Emma Wenken's sword light seemed to have the same origin. But Zhou Ming's sword light was more condensed and sharp, with an indescribable peerless sharpness. Poof! Emma Wenken spit out a mouthful of blood in the sky, and a long and deep wound appeared on his chest. Miss, run away! Emma Wenken endured the pain. He knew that he couldn't deal with such a situation, so he could only run away. From the initial breakdown, to seeing Emma Wenken seriously injured, Ningying calmed down a little. The two quickly fled. It wasn't until they left the mountain that they felt the crisis that had haunted them dissipated. Ningying is on the verge of collapse, points plus 241. Emma Wenken is extremely horrified, points plus 182. Zhou Ming couldn't help but smile when he saw the reward points. That's another 423 points, plus the remaining 13 points. There are now a total of 436 points. He spent 80 points to directly bring his cultivation to the 9th level of the Qi refining period. But there is no way to pull the foundation stage. It's very strange to break the system. The breakthrough of this kind of big realm has to be done in person, and he is not allowed to directly use points to improve. There is no way, Zhou Ming can only find a way to break through the foundation stage. Fortunately, there are many treasures here and there, and it is very easy to find a few treasures to help break through the foundation building stage. What's more, he still has the creation divine tree, so he can always enlighten him, and it shouldn't be a big problem to break through a bottleneck. Unable to continue to improve his cultivation, he spent 100 points to exchange for another headless knight, and then spent another 100 points to upgrade the headless knight to tier 2. In this way, he has 2 second-order headless knights, and even if there are a few more foundation building monks in the restricted area, there is no need to worry. In the end, there are 156 points left. He intends to keep it temporarily, save to upgrade the restricted area, or keep it as a spare. In case the item card is not enough, he can also exchange the points for the item card. The other side. After Ningying and Emma Wenkin escaped, Ningying frantically wanted to shave off the red hair on her body, but no matter how many times she shaved it, it would grow back, as if she could never shave it off. What the is going on here? Ningying looked at herself in the mirror, with red hair all over her face. How strange she looked. How will she meet people in the future? Miss, do you feel any discomfort? Emma Wenkin asked. His injury has stabilized. And what he is worried about at the moment is Miss. Compared with Miss's situation, his injury is not worth mentioning. No, I don't feel any discomfort, and my cultivation is not abnormal, but why do you have red hair? Ningying nearly broke down and cried. Miss, you may be cursed in this situation, so you should go home and find the master to deal with it. Maybe the mana of the master's Jindan period can break your curse. Emma Wenkin guessed. Yes. Dad. Ningying thought of her dad, as if she had found a life-saving straw. After thinking of her father, she suddenly regretted sneaking out to play this time. If you didn't sneak out, how could such a thing happen? As long as she remembered what happened in that mountain just now, she felt a shudder. Daddy should be able to save me. Even if Daddy can't save me, Daddy's master is a powerhouse in the nascent soul stage of the 5 elements sect. With the nascent soul mana of Daddy and Chaizun, it will definitely be no problem. No matter what kind of monster it is, as long as the strong Yuan Ying makes a move, it can be destroyed at will. It must be like this. Ningying thought about it like this, as if she was comforting herself, but she felt a lot more at ease. Then, Ningying wrapped her body tightly and followed Emma Wenkin back home. Chongsheng Mountain. After Zhou Ming drove away Ningying and Emma Wenkin, he started to use his imagination and wanted to add something to Chongsheng Mountain. I used to play horror games, and I was most afraid of those dolls with funny faces, especially puppets. Zhou Ming thought so. Then he collected materials at Chongsheng Mountain and made more than a dozen puppets in one go. And when he made these puppet dolls, he suddenly remembered that he was in a restricted area, rather than a haunted house. Forget it, the restricted area and the haunted house are similar. Zhou Ming was too lazy to tangle. Continue to make more puppets, as long as they are scary. However, right at this time, the system prompts, 12 intruders were detected. Yuan Fa, the foundation stage is 5 floors. Yuan Rooting, the 8th floor of the Qi refining period. Yuan Kun, the 9th floor of the Qi refining period. Yuan Suzi, the 8th floor of the Qi refining period. Hey? Here again? So fast. Zhou Ming had seen this batch of Yuan family fools and gave him a lot of points. I guessed that these people would come here to the treasures of heaven and earth. I just didn't expect it to be so fast. It seems very anxious. It's time for people to gain a little bit, otherwise they'll always return empty-handed, and no one will come to my restricted area in the future. Zhou Ming thought about how to deal with the Yuan family. As a restricted area, it can't even give any real benefits. It should be the coexistence of risk and reward. He needs to grasp this degree. The other side. The 12 members of the Yuan family entered Chongsheng Mountain, and they were instantly shocked by the treasures of heaven and earth all over the mountains. This mysterious spirit flower, pearl immortal grass, snow dragon vine. They are all rare and hard to find spiritual things. There are also black patterned gold stones, phoenix ruby, azure bronze, etc., which are all materials for refining holy artifacts. Everyone felt dazzled, and it was difficult to calm down at all. If you take out a few treasures here, you can buy their entire Yuan family. They still far underestimated the base hand described by Yuan Quan. This treasure of heaven and earth in base hand feels a lot more, is it an illusion? Yuan Quan was a little puzzled. Although the treasures of heaven and earth in base hand are still shocking, they seem to be more precious than the last time he came. Maybe he didn't look carefully last time, maybe it was an illusion. Everyone don't spread out and collect treasures together. If you encounter an irresistible danger, don't hesitate, you must exit immediately. Yuan Fa was relatively calm, and ordered in a deep voice. Then everyone started to advance slowly, and Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com collected nearby treasures at the same time. I got the Xianling flower. A member of the Yuan family held a white flower with extraordinary charm in his hand, and said with surprise on his face. Just seeing the treasure is nothing. It's exciting to get the treasure. Okay. Go on. Yuan Fa glanced at it and was equally happy, but he did not let his guard down. He didn't set out to collect treasures, but was always vigilant about his surroundings, especially the headless knight that Yuan Quan had mentioned. In this way, they moved forward slowly, and then they got a dozen treasures. All in all, the gains have been huge. Everyone was overjoyed, but they didn't expect it to go so smoothly. However, at this time, a piercing chill came. Everyone turned their heads to look, and saw a headless horseman full of evil spirits. As soon as the headless horseman appeared, he went straight to the Yuan family. The power is too strong, comparable to the peak of the foundation establishment period, it is irresistible, we will withdraw. Yuan Fa felt the power of this headless horseman, and his face was horrified. This headless knight is not at all inferior to the foundation building stage as Yuan Quan said, but it is much stronger than the average foundation building stage cultivator, and it is not something they can resist. Without any hesitation, he immediately called to retreat. Everyone was also shocked by the power of the headless horseman, and they chose to retreat almost at the same time, without any slack. At the same time, after Yuan Fa broke off a little, he burst into all cultivation, took out a large number of talismans, and took out all the cards at once, forming a powerful impact to blast the headless knight. Although the headless horseman was unscathed, his footsteps were slightly blocked. The Yuan family took this opportunity to quickly evacuate. But at this time, Zhou Ming appeared, still dressed in white, with a clown mask on his face. He stopped the Yuan family's retreat. Who? Get out! The Yuan family is running for their lives. Seeing Zhou Ming who suddenly appeared, he didn't have time to think too much, and he didn't notice that the aura of heaven and earth around him had disappeared. When even 5 people made moves against Zhou Ming. These 5 people used the Yuan family's town clan spell, Flame Slash. 5 people joined forces, still the same trick, the fusion of magic and momentum, showing stronger power. The tree of creation in Zhou Ming's body trembled slightly, and he quickly analyzed the spell and improved it. Then, Zhou Ming stretched out his palm, and the same flames slashed out. However, it was much hotter than the flame slash that the 5 members of the Yuan family joined together, and at the same time had a kendo edge. Boom! The 5 members of the Yuan family were all smashed back, and several of them spurted blood, and all of them were seriously injured. These 5 people adjusted a bit, and were just about to cooperate with the other Yuan family members to make another move. But the 5 suddenly stopped moving, their eyes turned crimson, and then they shouted and screamed like crazy, and ran out regardless. The rest of the Yuan family were shocked when they saw it. But soon it was their turn. Zhou Ming waved his hand, and then fired a flame slash. After everyone was blasted away, they also became crazy, grinning like a fool and running out. These 11 people were all used by him with a first-order madman card. Crazy card, you can also write crazy content. And what Zhou Ming just wrote was, at this hour of the day, he would run madly towards the sun. It was like seeing a peerless beauty, while drooling, flapping her tongue, she rushed over like a pervert. But the first-order madness card is only valid for the qi refining period. As long as these people break through to the foundation building stage, they can return to normal. However, breaking through the foundation building stage is easier said than done. With so many people in the Yuan family, there is only one foundation building stage. At last, only Yuan Fa was left. Because Yuan Fa was broken, he was at the back. He just saw the scene where this white-robed man made everyone in the Yuan family go crazy. At the same time, there is one more thing worth noting. That is, after the man in white appeared, the headless horseman actually showed fear, his body trembled slightly, and he slowly stepped back, not daring to take a step closer to the man in white. Therefore, Yuan Fa was no longer attacked by the headless horseman. See this scene. Yuan Fa naturally judged that in this place, the man in white was obviously more terrifying than the headless horseman. It can be seen from the strange move of the man in white just now. Avoid him, escape. Yuan Fa was terrified and did not dare to face the man in white, so he changed direction and rushed outside. However, the man in white that he was afraid of appeared in front of him like a ghost again out of thin air, and then slowly raised his hand. An incredible light was condensing on it. Yuan Fa knew that he couldn't avoid it, he could only take action. Fight! Yuan Fa sipped several explosive pills in one gulp, and his cultivation was surging. Is this the mana of the foundation building cultivator? In the face of such a powerful move, Zhou Ming remained calm. At this moment, he asked the creation god tree to analyze Yuan Fa's foundation building mana. The tree of creation instantly parsed out the exercise method San Yang Gong practiced by Yuan Fa, as well as the low-grade Dao foundation forged by Yuan Fa. This analysis. Zhou Ming had a deeper understanding of breaking through the foundation establishment stage. The reason why he wanted to face Yuan Fa directly was because he wanted to analyze Yuan Fa's foundation building stage through the tree of creation. After all, his restricted area system didn't teach him to practice, and he didn't even give him a single exercise. He could only think of a way by himself. Maybe the system thinks that he has the creation divine tree, and he can easily handle the cultivation by himself, so he is too lazy to teach him cultivation knowledge. At last, Zhou Ming instantly mastered the 3 Yang Gong, then defeated Yuan Fa with one move, and by the way gave Yuan Fa a second-order madman card. Then, Yuan Fa also rushed outside frantically. Although Zhou Ming only has the 9th level of qi refining, his spells are stronger. After cultivating the perfected San Yang Gong, the power of spells has increased several times. Moreover, there is a divine tree of creation, and the flaws in Yuan Fa's spells were analyzed in an instant. That's why we can finally defeat Yuan Fa in this foundation building period. However, Yuan Fa couldn't see Zhou Ming's true cultivation. His creation tree could cover up all the qi. In Yuan Fa's eyes, he could only roughly sense the power of Zhou Ming's magic, but he could not judge what level of magic power Zhou Ming was using. I exchanged 10 first-order madness cards and 1 second-order madness card, which cost 300 points. But this wave of Yuan family gave away 2,753 points, and now I have 2,609 points. Zhou Ming briefly summed up the harvest. Before that, he had 156 points, which was not enough to exchange for a Tier 2 item card, because a Tier 2 item card required 200 points. However, in the process of dealing with the Yuan family, he was already harvesting points, so 200 points were enough to exchange for a second-order Madman card. In the end, he had 2,609 points left. Zhou Ming directly consumed 2,000 points to raise the restricted area level to level 3. The moment when the restricted area was raised to level 3, the earth of Chongsheng Mountain trembled slightly, and it began to expand outward, and its area directly tripled. But this expansion did not affect the outside, just like an extra area out of thin air. It seems that the rest of the world has vacated a micron of space, and all of them have been given to Chongsheng Mountain. The restricted area is upgraded to level 3, and new permanent items and new item cards are unlocked. The first order item cards can be exchanged for free. Zhou Ming quickly checked. Name, Zhou Ming Cultivation, 9th level of Qi Refining Period Method of Creation, the origin of Reiki Forbidden Zone level, level 3, 0/30,000, the highest treasure in the restricted area, the Tree of Creation permanent item, second order Headless Horseman ×2, UU reading www.uuganshu.com Wangxianveen one-time item card, Tier 1 item card times, Tier 3 time card times 1 special item card, Star card Bone Spirit area, automatically unlocked when they dead appear in the restricted area Sword Tomb, restricted zone level 4 unlocked points, 609 Wangxian Vine. Zhou Ming saw that there was a 10,000 Immortal Vine in the permanent item. He directly summoned Wangxian Teng. It turned out to be a green tree demon boy, with a green body, limbs like rattan, a face with complete facial features, tender and cute, and a few green shoots and leaves on his head. Wangxian Teng saw Zhou Ming and respectfully said, "Master, what are your orders?" It turns out to be wise, completely different from the Headless Horseman, and it doesn't seem that there is a level to improve. Zhou Ming was slightly surprised. "Master, this subordinate is one of the immortal species of immortality, the only existence in the world, and in theory, it has the same status as your creation tree. So at the beginning of his birth, he possessed spiritual wisdom, but his subordinates were destroyed once and lost their memories. Now they are resurrected by the Master, and everything starts anew. My subordinates are like most immortals, their bodies are rich in vital energy, which can save death and prolong life. At the same time, they also have offensive abilities that most immortals don't have. It's just that it's still weak and needs some time to grow." Wangxian Teng introduced himself. "How do you want to grow up?" Zhou Ming asked. Wangxian Teng replied, "Subordinates can grow by absorbing the sun essence and heaven and earth spiritual qi, and they don't need other resources. It's quite convenient." In this case, Zhou Ming felt that the 10,000 Immortal Vine was quite worry-free and could be completely stocked. The most important thing is that there is also intelligence, which can act as an intelligent robot to help him a lot. Wangxian Teng added, "After the subordinates have grown to a certain level, they can communicate with the high immortal realm to draw immortal energy, and then they can also provide the Master with immortal energy cultivation." Supreme Immortal Realm? It's too far, you can talk about it when you get there. Zhou Ming didn't have much thought about the so-called Supreme Immortal Realm. He himself is not yet able to gain a firm foothold in the mountain of longevity, so why should he think so far? Even if you think about it, it's all in vain, so it's better to save some energy to deal with the current affairs. "I'll give you a mission," Zhou Ming said to Wangxian Teng. "Please instruct the Master. You and the other 2 Headless Horsemen are guarding a place separately. You put these puppets in the place you are in charge of. You can hang them on trees or place them on the ground. As long as an intruder comes in, anyone who sees the face of the puppet doll can just use a prop card for him, and then do your best to expel the person, or kill him. I'll give you the right to exchange the item card. Zhou Ming ordered. Wang Xianteng said respectfully, my subordinates obey. In addition, Zhou Ming added, I will give you the permission to move in the Chongsheng mountain space. You can change the position of the puppet doll every quarter of an hour, and change it randomly. Before the intruder sees the face of the puppet doll, you let him move freely. Yes, my subordinates know. Okay, let's go. Zhou Ming said. He arranged it this way, mainly to make the trespassers have a perception that they would be cursed when they saw the puppet doll's face. This can slightly enhance the strangeness and horror of Chongsheng Mountain. He has now divided Chongsheng Mountain into regions. Part of it is the Headless Horseman's area, and part of it is the area of 10,000 Immortal Vine. These two areas are not bad at present in terms of garrison strength. If you enter casually, you may die. He also revised the stone tablets placed in various places in Chongsheng Mountain, and added a sentence, the trespasser is at his own risk. Now, the Yuan family went crazy outside, so they should be able to vigorously promote the existence of Chongsheng Mountain to him. When the time comes, those people outside know that there are many treasures here, and there will definitely be people who can't help coming here. But when they saw the situation of the Yuan family, they should also understand that there is danger here. Knowing that there is danger here, you should be prepared to lose your life. No one is to blame if you die. If you can still gain something if you don't die, then you are lucky and you are awesome. Zhou Ming also admitted it. Anyway, he has a lot of talent, so it doesn't matter what he loses, as long as he can reap the points. It's time to try to break through the foundation building period. Zhou Ming has nothing else to do now. The remaining 609 points will be temporarily reserved for Wang Xianteng. These 600 points can still be exchanged for 3 second-order item cards. Now that the restricted area has been upgraded to level 3, you can also exchange for level 3 item cards. But a tier 3 item card requires 3000 points, which is temporarily unaffordable. I can only hope that the Yuan family can bring in a lot of points income when they promote Chongsheng Mountain to him outside. Now his Chongsheng Mountain is actually relatively weak. If his fame had skyrocketed and he had attracted great cultivators from the Jindan stage and even the nascent soul stage, then he would be hard-pressed. But no one will come without fame, and he can't increase his points income. That's why he needs to operate well. While improving the reputation of Chongsheng Mountain, it also rapidly increased the defense power of Chongsheng Mountain. Now he can exchange tier 3 item cards. As long as he has a tier 3 item card, he has a certain ability to deal with the cultivator of the Jindan stage. But if he wants to deal with the nascent soul cultivator, either he has a tier 4 item card, or he can beat the nascent soul cultivator himself. But this is a bit farther than that. For now, he should break through the foundation building stage first. Let's start from this San Yang Gong to break through the foundation building period. Zhou Ming began to use the tree of creation to deeply study and analyze 3 Yang Gong. He's not good at creating something from nothing, but as long as it exists, he can improve it to absolute perfection. San Yang Gong is a relatively good foundation building period. He mainly cultivates 3 sun flames, and each time a sun flame is cultivated, it can increase the power of spells by 10%, which is a very powerful technique. When facing Yuan Fa at first, Zhou Ming had already improved this technique to the point where he could cultivate 9 solar energy and increase the power of his spell by 90%, so he was able to defeat Yuan Fa. But now, he found that this was still not perfect. He raised his head and glanced at the sun above his head, feeling the sun's essence pouring down from the sun. According to the idea of San Yang Gong, it can continue to improve. At the same time, the madmen of the Yuan family quickly became famous outside, attracting the attention of many people. When they returned to normal temporarily and knew the fact that they had just gone mad, they were immediately ashamed and angry. However, at this moment, they were also terrified of the white-robed man in Chongsheng Mountain who beat them casually and made them mad. Moreover, even without the man in white, the headless horseman could easily kill them. In fact, it can be said that the man in white saved them. If the appearance of the man in white hadn't shocked the headless horseman, reading www.yuyuganshu.com would have prevented the headless horseman from chasing them. They might have a few people dead inside. The Yuan family did not hide the situation of Chongsheng Mountain. A brief word to some people who are curious about why they are crazy. You said that Longevity Mountain has many rare heaven and earth treasures, but is guarded by a headless knight comparable to the peak of the foundation establishment period. Not only that, but there is also a man in white wearing a mask with a weird smiling face. That man easily defeated us, but he didn't kill us. I don't know what method he used to make us mad and rush out. Besides, the headless horseman originally chased and killed us, but he retreated because of the appearance of the man in white. He seems to be very afraid of the man in white. Listen to the words of the Yuan family. Everyone around was surprised. Although looking at the situation and description of the Yuan family, I was a little worried about the danger of Chongsheng Mountain. But they are more interested in the treasures inside. When the Yuan family was promoting Chongsheng Mountain, Zhou Ming received some points one after another. Feng Dazu is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, his points are plus 34. Qiu Bin is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, and the points are plus 45. Kawazhou is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 17. Kong Shizi is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 29. However, Zhou Ming can't take care of it for the time being, he has already immersed himself in the Epiphany technique. At this time, he felt that he had entered the sun and had already begun to analyze the way of the sun. The sun is not only a material existence, but also one of the origins of Taoism, including many Taoist laws. He was absorbing everything from the sun and slowly combing out the most perfect and most suitable deity for him. Ningfu. Mo Wenkin came back with Ning Ying, who was tightly wrapped. When they came back, the two went straight to Ning Konghe, who was Ning Ying's father. It's Wen Qin, what's the matter? Who is this next to you? Ning Konghe asked, looking suspiciously at Mo Wenkin and the weird guy next to him who didn't even show his face. But at this time, when Ning Ying heard her father's voice, she couldn't bear it any longer. Unveiled his robe, rushed towards the Ningzhong River, shouted, "Father!" But in Ning Konghe's eyes, what he saw was a red-haired monster rushing towards him. It is someone who is at the Jindan stage and has seen the scene. At this moment, he was also slightly frightened. What the hell? Ning Konghe's face was startled, and he immediately waved his hand, a burst of energy, which directly shook the red-haired monster back. "Father, it's me." Ning Ying was shocked by her father's cultivation, and felt even more uncomfortable. Originally, I was extremely aggrieved, but I have endured it all the way since I came out of that mountain. She didn't dare to show any skin. It wasn't until she heard her father's voice that her emotions erupted. In the end, even her father couldn't recognize her. How could she bear it? She cried on the spot. "What is Ying Eru?" After Ning Konghe calmed down from the initial shock, he finally judged from the red-haired monster's voice, tone, and body shape that this was indeed his precious daughter. "What the is going on here? It's so good, how did it become like this?" Ning Konghe said in shock. "Father, I shouldn't sneak out to play." Ning Ying said very regretfully. "Master, it's all my fault. I'll take the young lady out to play." Mo Wenkin said, "We accidentally went to a treasure mountain, and we met a man wearing a smiling face mask inside. The man pointed at the young lady, and the young lady suddenly became like this, and I almost died in it." "What? There is such a thing?" Ning Konghe was shocked when he heard this. "Father, take a look, can you help me get rid of this red hair? I shave it several times to no avail." Ning Ying pleaded. Let me see. Ning Konghe quickly checked Ning Ying. However, after the inspection, his face gradually became solemn. Dad, how are you? Ning Ying asked with anticipation. Ning Konghe said solemnly, Ying I can't see what is going on with this red hair. Ning Konghe was very surprised. With the mana of his fourth layer Jindan stage, he tried several methods, but he couldn't do anything about this red hair. Dad, you can't do anything. Ning Ying said miserably. Ning Konghe checked it several times, but still couldn't see anything. This red hair is like a manifestation of the rules, no matter how many times you shave it, it will return to its original shape. What about the grandfather, the old man's Yuan Ying cultivation base, can you help me heal? Ning Ying was disappointed to hear that Ning Konghe could not get rid of the red hair. But she still has the last hope, which is her father's master, the ancestor of the five elements sect's nascent soul, Shen Yuchen. Ning Konghe is now a member of the five elements sect and belongs to the external elder. Master is a great cultivator in the Yuan Ying period, and he has already mastered the laws of heaven and earth, and maybe he can be cured. Ning Konghe said. Then Dad, take me to see the grandfather. Ning Ying said with a happy expression. Ning Zhonghe sighed slightly, Ying your grandfather is not here. I received news that his old man has been away from the Five Elements sect for a while. It seems that he is exploring the secret realm with a friend, and he may not return in a short time. The Five Elements sect has only one nascent soul ancestor, and the rest are Jindan elders, but they shouldn't be able to help Ning Ying either. Then what should I do? If it takes a long time, what if it can't be cured? How can I go out to meet people in the future? Ning Ying showed anxiety. The more she thought about it, the more uncomfortable she became, and tears fell again. Ying don't worry, tell me in detail about the treasure mountain you entered. Since you have an accident there, maybe the cure is there. Ning Konghe said. But Ning Ying was a little worried and said, Dad, are you going to that place? In case you become like me. Ying don't worry, your father and I are also a cultivator of Jindan stage, and I have seen many storms. Ning Konghe said with relief, I can tell you that there may not be any major danger in Base Han, otherwise how can you come back safely? In addition, the more pretending to be a ghost, the more mystical people, the less powerful they tend to be. Otherwise, if he is a great cultivator at the nascent soul stage, one look will be enough to make you die 1,000 times, so why not scare you with such a strange thing? What's the point of it? Ning Ying heard this, her eyes brightened slightly, it seemed to make sense. If Daddy can subdue the person who pretends to be a ghost, maybe he can figure out the reason for her red hair, and maybe he can easily cure her. But the place was still weird, and she was still a little worried. Dad, I feel that the mountain is a bit evil, or we should wait for the grandfather to come back. Ning Ying said. Don't worry, your father, I'm not a reckless person, I will be careful. Moreover, even if I really become like this, it doesn't matter, it's a big deal to be your company with Ying Ning Konghe said with a smile. Then he looked at Emma Wenkin and said, Wenkin, you take me to that mountain, I want to investigate it carefully. Chongsheng Mountain. There was thick fog all around, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Ning Konghe and Emma Wenkin returned here. They saw a stone tablet with the words, Longevity Mountain. There is also a line of small print below, trespassers are at their own risk. But it's all here, and it's about my daughter. Ning Konghe had to go in to see the situation no matter what. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Wenqin, you stay here, I'll go in and check it myself. Master, be careful. Ning Zhonghe moved his cultivation base, sacrificed a magic weapon to protect himself, and then walked in. After entering, then he saw the treasures that Emma Wenkin said were everywhere. He was shocked. Where can there be so many treasures from heaven and earth? Moreover, the treasures of heaven and earth here are not moved from other places, they are all born and raised here. Suddenly, at this time, a hot wind came from the sky. Ning Konghe looked up, and his face suddenly became horrified. In the dazzling blazing sun in the sky, a phantom appeared, it was a golden crow. At this moment, the golden crow has spread its wings. The golden crow spreads its wings. This is a vision of heaven and earth that was only recorded in ancient times. Ning Konghe thought he was dazzled. But at this moment, he did feel a solar wind that seemed to blow into the depths of his soul, and the temperature of his whole body gradually rose, as if his whole body was about to burn. Actually, not only Ning Konghe. At this moment, in the entire world of immortality, everyone noticed this vision of the golden crow spreading its wings. An unparalleled solar wind swept across every inch of the Xiaoxian world. The old monsters of the major holy places and immortal gates, all hidden powers, couldn't help but come out to check at this moment. But no matter how they probed, they couldn't find the reason why the golden crow spread its wings. But Ning Konghe seemed to know. Because he suddenly saw a similar golden crow phantom on the top of the mountain, which was also flapping its wings, as if to fly into the sky and compete with the sun. Zhou Ming realized the Dao with the help of the god of creation tree, and accidentally realized the sun. The creation tree has the power to create the world, and it is all-encompassing, and the mystery of the birth of the sun is naturally included. Zhou Ming turned the sun he realized into his Taoist foundation, and finally successfully established the foundation. However, he did not know that he caused the heaven and earth vision of the golden crow spreading its wings. If you know, you may feel a little pity. Because if the world knows that the source of this vision is in Chongsheng Mountain, it is estimated that it can bring him an astronomical number of points. At that time, it may not be impossible to raise the penalty area to the top level. Zhou Ming is still comprehending the way of the sun. But at this moment, one intruder detected. Ning Konghe, the fourth floor of the Jindan period. Jindan period. Zhou Ming looked at it, and without any hesitation, pointed it out. He just realized a trick, the golden crow sky fire. At this moment, you can directly use it to test the power. He knew that neither the Headless Horseman nor Wang Xianteng could cope with the Golden Core stage cultivator at the moment. He just broke through the foundation establishment stage, and he is not sure about dealing with the Jindan stage cultivator. But you have to try, and you will know the situation after you try. Ning Konghe was still in shock at the moment, and he almost forgot what he was here for. Then, he was startled suddenly, feeling a fatal crisis. He looked up, his face felt hot. There is a group of fiery firelight condensing in the sky, and the solar wind blowing around is gathered by this group, forming a brilliant wit-y gold fire blade. Bad! Ning Konghe didn't react at all, just shouted a word, and was cut off by this wit-y gold fire blade, leaving only a scorched black and broken golden core. Zhou Ming was also very surprised when he saw Ning Konghe's situation, one move in seconds. He himself never thought that this move was so powerful. Maybe it's because of the help given by the genuine sun in the sky. Using this move under the scorching sun can increase the power by a few %. The first time the dead appeared in the restricted area, unlock the Bone Spirit area. Bone Spirit area, dead ×1. A new area suddenly appeared in Chongsheng Mountain. Here, the sky is dark. There are no natural treasures around. Instead, there are various strange-shaped ores, but if you cut these ores, there may be surprises or scare. Ning Konghe appeared in the Bone Spirit area at this time, and he had turned into a pair of bones with a faint fire in his eyes. He felt very confused at the moment. She seemed to be worried about something in her heart. But he couldn't remember anything. I only remember that my name is Ning Konghe. At this time, a green gleam suddenly appeared in front of him, turning into a little green radish demon with complete facial features. Xiao Yao said, "Hello, welcome to Chongsheng Mountain. I'm Wang Xianteng, and I'm responsible for giving you some guidance. Wang Xianteng? What guidance? Ning Konghe asked in doubt. Wang Xianteng replied, you trespassed in the restricted area, you were punished to become a bone spirit clan, and your original memory was also sealed. In the future, you will be responsible for guarding the bone spirit area. As long as you guard it for 10,000 years, you can restore your main body and leave, or during this period, you can cultivate to become an immortal, and you can leave early. Guarding for 10,000 years. Still immortal. Although Ning Konghe lost his basic memory, he still retained his common sense of the world. He knows that 10,000 years is an extremely long time, and becoming an immortal is even more difficult. You still have a choice, which is to give up being a bone spirit race, and then reincarnate. Wang Xianteng said, however, if you choose to be reincarnated, your life will be completely ended. Not only will you lose the chance to restore your body, but you will also lose your only chance to become an immortal. Here, can you really become an immortal? Ning Konghe asked. Of course you can. Wang Xianteng replied, bone spirit race can also cultivate, and here, your lifespan is unlimited. Even if you spend thousands or tens of thousands of years, there is always a chance to become an immortal. Although your memory has been sealed, I can tell you that coming here is the greatest opportunity in your life. Because you can't cultivate to become an immortal anyway outside. But there is a chance to become an immortal here. When you recover your original body and go out, you may be an immortal. Wang Xianteng said lightly. The owner has given him the authority of many restricted areas, so he knows more. According to the master, he has now become the central brain of Chongsheng Mountain, managing everything here for the master. I understand. Ning Konghe accepted his situation. He has no memory, but he still has a desire to become immortal. And at present, he seems to have no other choice. Okay, there will be new people coming to the bone spirit area in the future, and you will be responsible for guiding. Wang Xianteng said. Result. Wang Xianteng just finished speaking. A newcomer immediately appeared in the bone spirit area. A new set of bones was born in the bone spirit area, and he looked around in confusion as well. When Ning Konghe looked at the new bones, he felt a very familiar feeling. He suddenly blurted out, Wen Qin. But after saying these two words, he also became confused, and he didn't know why he did this. The new bone is indeed Mo Wenkin. He waited outside for a long time, couldn't help but came in and took a look, and then he was cleaned up by Wang Xianteng, so he also came to the bone spirit area. Mo Wenkin and Ning Konghe felt very familiar with each other, but they still couldn't remember anything, only an intuition. The other side. Zhou Ming received 1,284 points from Ning Konghe's Golden Core stage. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. In addition, Yuan's family gave him publicity for the points he got one after another. There are also more than 3,000 points. He didn't even think about it, and directly spent 2,000 points to raise a headless knight to the 3rd rank. In this way, if Chongsheng Mountain comes to Jindan stage cultivator again, there is no need to bother him. Then he spent another 320 points to bring his cultivation to the 9th floor of the foundation establishment stage. In the foundation building period, it only takes 40 points to upgrade one level of cultivation, which is very cheap. It seems that the cultivation of the small realm is of little use in the system. Zhou Ming also feels that it is really useless now. The key is that breaking through the big realm requires a little bit of refreshment. Now he can start to break through the Golden Core stage. When Zhou Ming retreated and broke through the Golden Core stage, 2 Jindan stage elders from the 5 Elements sect entered Chongsheng Mountain with a dozen elite disciples of the foundation establishment stage. They received news from the 5 Elements sect that there was a strange treasure mountain here. Many people died in it, but they came out alive, and many people also had problems. As the number 1 faction in Jiazhu, the Five Elements sect must investigate a little. Of course, they are also very interested in the rumored treasures here and there. Therefore, 2 elders of the Jindan period were sent to investigate. Then, in the end, only 2 Foundation establishment disciples escaped from this group. Everyone else went to the bone spirit area. Ning Konghe looked at the new bone and suddenly felt familiar again, but he still couldn't remember anything. He did his due diligence, assigning tasks to the new bones. Gradually, he seemed to have become the #1 leader in the bone spirit district. Suddenly, at this time, the earth in the world of immortals trembled slightly. Zhou Ming is breaking through the golden elixir period. He had a vague sense of urgency in his heart. Every person who died in the restricted area, all the secrets and memories on his body will be checked by Wang Xianteng, and then the useful information will be screened out and told to him. So he knows. The Five Elements sect has a great cultivator at the nascent soul stage, who seems to be rushing back, and may also bring another cultivator from the nascent soul stage. This made Zhou Ming feel a little pressure. At present, he still has not enough points to advance to level 4 penalty area. Moreover, even if the level 4 restricted area is upgraded, a level 4 item card requires 40,000 points, and even if the level 4 Headless Knight is upgraded, it will also require 30,000 points. The points gap is huge. Zhou Ming urgently needs to make a wave of quick money now. Otherwise, if we just rely on such a slow accumulation, the nascent soul cultivator might have come to visit before the restricted area has been upgraded. But this quick money is not something you can get if you want it, it requires a bit of luck. Under these circumstances, Zhou Ming can only try his best to improve his strength. He began to practice the 5 Elements classic of the 5 Elements. He used the tree of creation to deeply understand the way of the 5 elements. Gold, wood, water, fire, and soil are the source of all things in the universe. But this is not the root cause, the real root is chaos. At last, it took Zhou Ming 3 days to inexplicably realize a prototype of Chaos Qi. This is the moment when the prototype of Chaos Qi appears. Even Heavenly Dao felt trembling, and the earth trembled slightly. Rumors. A wisp of Chaos Qi is enough to overwhelm a big world. Zhou Ming, this is just a prototype of Chaos Qi, but it is enough to make Tiandao instinctively feel scared. Unfortunately, it seems that Tiandao doesn't know that the rudiment of this chaotic energy is here. Or the restricted area system doesn't treat the Dao of heaven as a living being. He also didn't earn points from Tiandao. But at this moment, a small earthquake occurred everywhere in the entire immortal world. Some people were surprised, but they couldn't find the reason, and in the end it was nothing. Suddenly, at this time, the system prompts, it is detected that the Child of Fortune has invaded the restricted area, which meets the conditions for the use of special item cards. Yu Fengren, on the 9th floor of the Foundation building period, he entered the Sage site when he was 10 years old. Zhou Ming's eyes brightened when he saw this prompt. He finally waited. The money is coming soon. He has a special item card. However, this special item card cannot be used arbitrarily, and only certain people can use it. Because ordinary people can't afford such a card. Star card, I've been looking forward to the effect of this card for a long time, and I can finally use it once. Without any hesitation, Zhou Ming directly used the star card for Yu Fengren, the Son of Luck. He has been waiting for a long time. Just waiting for a Child of Luck to enter his restricted area. If there is no accident, the star card should bring him a lot of points. It's like there are really stars promoting his restricted area. As for the publicity effect, we can wait and see. It's really full of treasures, this trip didn't come in vain. Yu Fengren was very moved when he looked at the treasures of heaven and earth in Chongsheng Mountain. Although he has heard that there are strange dangers here. But, which secret treasure place is not dangerous? If there was no danger, all the treasures would have been picked up long ago. He understands the so-called pursuit of wealth and risk. So he decided to come to Chongsheng Mountain to explore. Hey! This is... Suddenly, Yu Fengren saw a piece of jade with a special halo, and he picked it up directly. After the jade was picked up by him, a layer of shell suddenly fell off, revealing the true appearance of the jade. Immediately, a celestial rhythm radiated from the jade, and an astonishing aura spread out from the jade. Is this a fairy jade? Yu Fengren's face was shocked. He had read the ancient books of saints and had a lot of knowledge. He knew that there was a kind of natural spiritual stone in this world, which not only contained pure and extremely pure spiritual energy, but also had an immortal spirit. This kind of spiritual stone is generally called fairy jade. Cultivating with fairy jade can easily achieve golden elixir. The probability of breaking through nascent soul is also 70% to 80%. There is also a 4050% chance of being promoted to a god. From the divine transformation stage to the heaven and human stage, having such a piece of fairy jade can also increase the probability by 1 or 2%. Anyway, this is an almighty treasure. No one would not want to get a piece of fairy jade. Yu Fengren never imagined that he had only entered Chongsheng Mountain for such a short time, and he had obtained such an amazing treasure. But there is a problem with this fairy jade. It seems that too much spiritual energy has been accumulated, and it actually exudes a fairy rhythm that is soaring to the sky. In this case, it can be seen almost 100 miles away. Anyone with some knowledge can recognize that this is the fairy jade. If Yu Fengren carried such a piece of jade on his body, it would be hard not to attract attention, and he would definitely become the target of public criticism. But how can you give up such a treasure? I, Yu Fengren, have taken this piece of fairy jade. Yu Fengren yearns for power. With such an opportunity in front of him, if he gave up because he was worried about the crime of Huibi, what kind of immortal would he cultivate? Go home and farm. But farming means a mediocre life. After all, the sky can't give him treasures every day. If he wants the chance, he can only do it by himself. Yu Fengren no longer hesitated, and immediately put this piece of fairy jade into the storage magic treasure. But the storage magic weapon couldn't stop the immortal rhythm of the immortal spirit jade, so it seemed that he was thinking too much. Helpless, he could only take it out again. Then, I tried my best to urge the exercises, and I wanted to absorb the aura leaked from the fairy jade as soon as possible, so that the celestial rhythm of Chongxiao should disappear. But at this time, a chill appeared. Yu Fengren turned his head to look, and saw a headless knight exuding an astonishing evil spirit. He suddenly smiled wryly. He originally wanted to refine a part of the fairy jade in Chongsheng Mountain first. Yu reading www.yukanshu.com. Because of his situation, it may be safer to stay here than outside. However, things didn't go as expected. The headless horseman saw Yu Fengren and rushed towards him. Yu Fengren felt the power of the headless horseman and knew that he was invincible, so he could only withdraw. However, his strength is not bad. Although he is only at the 9th floor of the foundation establishment stage, he has a way to retreat in the face of the golden core stage cultivator. At last, Yu Fengren left Chongsheng Mountain. As soon as he came out, he started at full speed and rushed towards a secret place of his own. As long as he went there, he would not be afraid even if a cultivator of the Yuan Ying stage came to his fairy jade. But the celestial rhythm on Yu Fengren's body is really eye-catching. There are many monks wandering around Chongsheng Mountain. Immediately, someone recognized Yu Fengren's fairy rhyme. This kind of fairy rhythm, isn't it the rumored fairy jade? Come on! That person brought out a piece of fairy jade from Chongsheng Mountain. Immediately, many monks were moved by the wind. And with Yu Fengren's escape, the news of Xian Lingyu spread quickly. Soon, the monks in the entire Jiazhu heard the news that someone had obtained the immortal spirit jade. And it was obtained from Chongsheng Mountain, a dangerous place that has recently gained fame. Almost everyone wants to know the exact news of Xian Lingyu. After all, a piece of fairy jade 100% achieve a golden core stage. There is a 7080% probability of becoming a nascent soul. There is a 4050% probability of becoming a god transformation stage. This is a kind of heaven and earth treasure that can be encountered and cannot be sought. Su Le is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 25. Fang Xinzong is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, his points are plus 71. Zhuge Qiang is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 11. Liu Pingfeng is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, and points plus 20. Han Sun is amazed at Chongsheng Mountain, points plus 7. Zhou Ming looked at the reminder of points earning for a while, and then turned it off. Because there are too many. It turns out that this is the star card. No wonder it has to be used on the Sun of Luck. Ordinary people can't toss like that. Zhou Ming smiled. Since that Yu Fengren left Chongsheng Mountain, the point income has increased significantly. He is really the spokesperson for the restricted area of walking. Such a piece of fairy jade, obtained by ordinary people, may have to be taken away by top powerhouses in the blink of an eye, and it will not cause any major storms. The news is estimated to be spread within a few hundred miles. But the treasures obtained by the Sun of Luck are not so easy to be taken away. Yu Fengren fled outside. Powerhouses from all walks of life tried to him, but in the end they couldn't take him down. Such a tossing! Naturally, more and more monks will be alerted. After a little inquiries, these monks will know that the reason why Yu Fengren was chased and killed is the fairy jade. The sphere of influence extends thousands of miles away. Although Chongsheng Mountain is now known by many people. But most people just regard Chongsheng Mountain as a slightly peculiar and dangerous place. For example, the Five Elements sect thinks so. There are many dangerous places with treasures hidden in the Xiaoxian world, which is not unusual at all. But it is a bit strange that there is a dangerous place for fairy jade. Thanks to Yu Fengren for being so tossed. As a result, the entire Jiazhu has begun to spread the news that there is a fairy jade in Chongsheng Mountain. Only then did Zhou Ming reap a wave of points. Unfortunately, it seems that the further away the monks are from Chongsheng Mountain, the points they provide will be reduced to a certain extent. Under the same circumstances, the closer you are to Chongsheng Mountain, the more points you will generate. Zhou Ming also couldn't understand why the system wanted to use this mechanism. Isn't this making it more difficult for him? At the same time, when the senior officials of the Five Elements sect held a meeting, most of them had serious expressions on their faces. Elder Liu Han and Han Xiao took 13 disciples from the Foundation establishment stage to the Chongsheng Mountain to investigate. But just a few days ago, almost all of their soul lights went out at the same time, and only 2 disciples fled back in embarrassment. According to the disciples who escaped, there were 2 headless knights who were comparable to the peak of the Golden Core stage, and a monster vine attacked and killed them, so they were destroyed almost instantly. The 2 of them were able to escape only because of the distance. The exit is near. The great elder of the Five Elements sect said, "It's not a serious matter, so I specially recalled you all. Let's talk about how to deal with this matter." An elder said, "The place is very strange. Not only Liu Han and Han Xiao, but also an external elder named Ning Konghe seems to have disappeared after entering Chongsheng Mountain. 2 headless puppets that are comparable to the peak of the Golden Core stage, and an unknown demon vine. With the current strength of our Five Elements sect, I'm afraid we can't figure it out. At least we have to wait for the ancestor to come back." Another elder said. "Isn't there another news recently? Someone brought out a piece of fairy jade from Chongsheng Mountain. If there is 1 piece, there may be 2 pieces. When the treasure appears in Jiazhu, how can our Five Elements sect miss it? I suggest that after the ancestors come back, they must attack the Longevity Mountain and capture the Immortal Spirit Jade." Another elder said coldly. Suddenly, at this time, a voice with a mighty voice came in from outside. The old man has come back. Then, a tall and straight old man with a stern face suddenly appeared in the conference hall. Ancestor! The ancestor is back! The elders of the Five Elements sect naturally recognized at a glance that this was the only nascent soul ancestor in their sect, Shen Yuchen. Old ancestor, Jiaz, who has recently appeared a dangerous place with many natural materials and treasures, called Chongsheng Mountain. The first elder was about to tell the ancestor about the Chongsheng Mountain in detail, but was directly interrupted by Shen Yuchen. Shen Yudao, I don't need to say more, I know everything. Immediately call in people and follow me to attack Chongsheng Mountain. Everyone was shocked when they heard the words. The first elder said, Old ancestor, so anxious? That place is quite strange, and a group of powerful white bone puppets have appeared recently. I think it is better to do more investigation first. After all, we have at least 3 Jindan stage elders died. It's inside. Don't worry, old man, I have even passed through the Saint's secret realm. Is this Longevity Mountain more terrifying than the Saint's secret realm? Shen Yue said with disdain. If the old man guessed correctly, this Longevity Mountain should be the Lingshan Mountain specially arranged by a high-level monk thousands of years ago to contain the treasures of heaven and earth. Those headless puppets, white bone puppets and monsters, the vine is just a means of protection. It may be that the hidden formation on the periphery of Chongsheng Mountain has been ineffective for a long time recently, so it will be revealed. To put it bluntly, this is an ordinary treasure mountain, but the defensive power is a bit retro and stronger. Shen Yu said lightly. As a great cultivator in the nascent soul period, he has 1,000 years of life and knowledge, and has passed through countless dangerous places. He has also seen many dangerous places like Chongsheng Mountain. So, he doesn't despise Chongsheng Mountain, he will take it seriously, but he won't be as afraid of anything like other people. There is a kind of skill that is like a veteran of the rivers and lakes. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. Brother Shen, if we just go, we'll have to go. I'm too greedy for that fairy jade, and I can't wait. Suddenly, at this time, another person appeared in the conference hall. This person was lean and middle-aged, but his body exuded an extremely vast and tyrannical aura, and he was undoubtedly a great cultivator in the nascent soul period. This person is the real Nai Chi, Shen Yu's life and death friend. Brother Nai, the mountain is not small. With the 2 of us alone, I'm afraid we won't be able to do it, so we still have to bring some manpower. Shen Yu lightly smiled and said, furthermore, the fairy jade can't run in there, so there's no need to rush it for a while. Are you really in no hurry? Nai Chi smiled and said, if we can get a piece of fairy jade, our chances of cultivating to the stage of spiritual transformation are much higher. I really wanted to catch the lucky boy who got the fairy jade, but unfortunately this boy is too slippery and difficult to track. Naturally, Nai Chi was talking about Yu Fengren. After they received the news, the first thing they wanted was to catch Yu Fengren and take the fairy jade. It's just that it is difficult to determine Yu Fengren's whereabouts, and there is no way to start. Brother Nai, wait a moment, we still need to prepare. The Chongsheng Mountain is indeed a bit strange, so we shouldn't be too careless. Shen Yu said lightly. The elders of the 5 Elements sect saw the existence of Nai Chi and knew that they had 2 great cultivators at the nascent soul stage, and felt a lot of peace of mind. And they all know that Nai Chi is very unusual. It is said that Nai Chi has a set of array treasures. If they are spread out, they are extremely powerful, and they are not even afraid of the cultivators of the spirit transformation stage. Soon, numerous elders of the 5 Elements sect and a large number of disciples of the foundation building stage gathered together, and under the leadership of Shen Yu and Nai Chi, they headed towards Chongsheng Mountain. Jiazhu. The 5 Elements sect made a big move and quickly attracted the attention of many monks. When they knew that the Five Elements sect was going to attack Chongsheng Mountain, they were all shocked. But after being shocked, it felt unexpected. The overlord of Jiazhu is the Five Elements school. Now suddenly there is a mountain of longevity, and there are many treasures in it. In the face of such a treasure mountain, it is impossible for the Five Elements sect to do nothing. And it is said that a few days ago, a group of disciples of the Five Elements sect were damaged in Chongsheng Mountain. Then it is even more impossible for them to let go of this longevity mountain. The Five Elements sect is going to attack Chongsheng Mountain, and the ancestor of the Yuanying period will lead the team. There is a good show to watch, so let's hurry up. Many monks were moved by the wind. Between the Five Elements sect and Chongsheng Mountain, there must be casualties. We take the opportunity to fish in troubled waters, either by attacking and killing the people of the Five Elements sect to treasures, or we will search for Chongsheng Mountain. Yes, a great opportunity to make a fortune, you can't miss it. These cultivators followed. In addition to watching the play, the main purpose was to find out. At this moment in Chongsheng Mountain, after Zhou Ming broke through the Golden Core stage, he directly spent 640 points to bring his cultivation to the 9th floor of the Golden Core stage. Now, he has already begun to think about breaking through the nascent soul stage. Breaking through the foundation building period, he understood the way of the sun and forged the foundation of the Golden Crow. Breaking through the Golden Core stage, he understood the way of the Five Elements, and went a step further, realized the prototype of chaotic energy, and condensed the chaotic Golden Core. But now that he wants to break through the nascent soul stage, he doesn't know what direction he should comprehend for the time being. After thinking about it for several days, I was still quite confused. At this moment, he glanced at the system. Immediately surprised. You actually have so many points? Zhou Ming was slightly surprised when he saw the score that broke through 6 figures. It's only been a few days. The effect of that star card was much better than he expected. Zhou Ming asked Wan Xianteng about the news in the past few days, only then did he know that Yu Fengren hadn't been caught yet, and was still running around with the fairy jade. He is indeed the son of luck. Not to mention, life is really hard. In the entire Jiazhu, he almost became a public enemy of the whole people, but he insisted on holding on, and he is still alive today. Yu Fengren's role is to let the vast majority of remote or low-level monks in Jiazhu know the existence of Chongsheng Mountain. This is the role of stars, and the name of this star card is really correct. Otherwise, without Yu Fengren's tossing, the news of Xian Lingyu and Chongsheng Mountain might also spread among some big forces or nearby monks. Zhou Ming looked at so many points. Is preparing to upgrade the restricted area. But at this time, a series of intruder prompts came from the system. 128 intruders were detected. Naiqi, the 7th floor of the Yuanying period. Shenyu, the 5th floor of the Yuanying period. Hu Kizun, the 9th floor of the Golden Core stage. Peng Yun, the 8th floor of the Golden Core stage. Look at the basic information of these intruders. Zhou Ming's face changed slightly. The people of the Five Elements sect are here again. And this time, a great monk from the nascent soul period came with him. There is more than one Yuanying. In addition to the 2 nascent souls, there are a total of 19 Jindan cultivators. This is all out of the nest, right? Restricted area upgrade. Zhou Ming directly started to consume points to upgrade the restricted area, and now there is no time for him to linger. At the same time, Shen Yu and Naiqi and other mighty over 100 people entered Chongsheng Mountain. What a treasure! Shen Yu looked at the situation in Chongsheng Mountain, at the treasures of heaven and earth that could be seen everywhere. Even with his nascent soul's vision, he felt a little dazzled. It's a pity that I didn't see the fairy jade. Naiqi glanced around and found no fairy jade for the time being. Even if there is no fairy jade, with this batch of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, is it not enough to support us to break through the spirit transformation stage? However, Shen Yu was not obsessed with fairy jade. There are many treasures that assist in breaking through the spirit transformation stage, and it does not necessarily have to be the fairy jade. At this time, 2 headless horsemen appeared. Zhou Ming's instruction to the headless horseman is to patrol according to the prescribed route, and the patrol route will be changed regularly. You can only take action if you find an intruder during patrol. In this case, as long as the intruder just avoided the place patrolled by the headless horseman, it is possible to safely grab the treasure and leave. Zhou Ming's arrangement is also to enhance the randomness of danger. People with good luck have a chance to get treasures even if their strength is very poor. The bone spirit area is also arranged similarly. The restricted area he wants to create is not a 100% mortality rate. It's high risk, high reward. But that's normal. If there is an intruder with the same level as the restricted area, then it doesn't matter what route, how much power is used, and all power is used to kill. After all, since it is said to be a restricted area, it is natural to be above the intruder no matter what the situation is, and try not to be evenly matched or even counter-killed. Now this situation. The appearance of the primordial infant cultivator has exceeded the level of the restricted area. The headless horseman immediately left the patrol route and came to expel the trespassers. Is this a headless puppet? Shen Yu smiled disdainfully when he saw the 2 headless horsemen. He slapped it out with a single palm, surging mana, and a powerful spell slammed into the headless knight. The headless horseman was immediately blasted back, with cracks appearing on his body. But after stabilizing his figure, the headless horseman once again killed the people of the 5 Elements sect, without pain or fear at all. There are some ways, but they are weaker. Shen Yu was a little surprised at the physical strength of this headless puppet, and he didn't know how to make it. The demon vine also appeared. At this time, suddenly, green vines as thick as water tanks appeared on the ground. The green vines were tough and flexible, and had spikes on them. As soon as Qingtang appeared, he swept towards everyone in the 5 Elements sect. This green vine is the transformation of Wangxian vine. Originally, it wouldn't grow so fast, and it was thanks to Zhou Ming's vision of the golden crow spreading its wings. It made Wangxiantang absorb a large amount of sun essence that day, which greatly increased the speed of growth. Now the aggression of Wangxian vine is close to that of a cultivator in the Yuan Ying period. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. But Nai Qi, the 7th level cultivator of the nascent soul stage, took action. He easily blocked Wangxiantang's attack. You collect treasures from heaven and earth, and we will deal with these headless puppets and demon vines. Shen Yu ordered. He knew that there was also a kind of bone puppet in this longevity mountain, but it seemed that that kind of puppet could only exist in a certain place. It's not where they came in. At this time, the deceased in the Bone Spirit District didn't even know what happened to the Headless Horseman and Wangxiantang, but only vaguely felt that there was a lot of movement there. When the rest of the 5 Elements sect saw this situation, their faces were filled with joy. It seemed that Chongsheng Mountain was about to fall into the hands of their 5 Elements sect. There are so many treasures here, they can at least get some of them. Thinking like this, everyone in the 5 Elements sect immediately searched for treasures everywhere, even digging 3 feet into the ground, not letting go of the scum. But at this time, Chongsheng Mountain suddenly trembled slightly. The ground suddenly began to expand, revealing new treasures of heaven and earth, and they were more precious than the previous ones, obviously a grade higher. What happened? Shen Yu and Nai Qi frowned slightly and looked around suspiciously. Then, they suddenly saw a man in white with a strange smiling face mask in the sky. The man in white stretched out his hand slightly and said 2 words, "Seal." Then, Shen Yu, Nai Qi, and all the people of the 5 Elements sect were completely still, as if they were frozen. At last, with a wave of Zhou Ming's hand, he took all these people away.